The following program is an exclusive presentation of Prime Sports.
From the Tacoma Dome in Tacoma, Washington, Prime Sports brings you the 26th NAIA Division II Football National Championship game. After being played in Portland the last 3 years, the championship game moves up I-5 to Tacoma, and today is showdown between the Oilers of Findlay of Ohio and the Wildcats of Central Washington. Hi everybody, I'm Todd Pickett along with Cleet Casper. Welcome to today's NAIA Division II Championship. Last time there'll be a Division II as everyone gets combined next season. Central Washington in the title game for the first time, and their offense revolves around quarterback John Kitna.
Well, Kitna's coming back home to Tacoma from Lincoln High School here, and he's fired up to light this stadium up. He's got a sensational senior year going and also is set to basically eclipse almost all of the NAIA records. You see his passing percentage there of 63%, and he only needs 163 yards to break the career passing record in the NAIA. So you'll see the ball in the air. Kitna's in charge.
39 school records, 23 league records, 4 national records. He'll set 2 more today. Quite the attack. They've faced 3 of the top 10 defenses in the last 3 weeks in the playoffs and averaged over 570 yards a game. Today they meet the #1 defense in the country in Findlay. The Oilers will have quite a challenge if they're going to be successful. One guy to watch is Ray Long.
Well, Ray Long is a guy who's used to coming in and taking on Big Ten type of teams where they come at you with a fullback and an I-back. Here he'll see a lot of wide receivers and backs out of the backfield. I expect him to be active and perhaps coming to try and put pressure on the Central Wildcat offense, coming right up the middle and putting pressure on Kitna.
Now, while Central throws the ball a lot, boy, is it the opposite side of the coin for Findlay. We're talking a ground attack, wishbone power that averages more than 82% of their offensive attack.
Well, the exact opposite, but these guys get it done. Bo Hurley, the quarterback, really is the operator, giving the ball to people like Shelton and Yeager. They're going to be between the tackles, a lot of ISO with backs leading in, coming up on the linebackers and falling in behind them with the running back. So a team that is not explosive from the standpoint of getting a lot at one time, but they'll just march the ball and control the ball, and that's why their defense is so good. Offense has the ball the whole game.
It is power football. Findlay won this crown in 1992. They're back again. Central's coach is a little bit worried. They say, we haven't seen a wishbone in 15 years. If Central's defense is to shut down this ground attack of Findlay, Scott Lemaster a key for the Wildcats.
The Wildcats are a much lighter team than Findlay. They're going to have to move around, stunt, blitz, and Lemaster's going to have to come from his linebacker position and perhaps get some pressure, mix things up in the backfield. So have to resort to quickness and a little style, perhaps.
Yeah, you don't think the old quarterback's excited about one passing attack and one rushing attack? Going to be a big offensive show, maybe.
We expect to see a lot of points on the board, and it's going to be 2 different styles of getting there. It should be really fascinating and fun football to watch. We'll
be back to introduce you to the 2 teams. Get ready for the opening kickoff from the Tacoma Dome right after this on Prime Sports. And welcome back to Tacoma. Just about ready to get underway for this championship game between Findlay and Central Washington. Central Washington Wildcats in their first ever NAIA championship game. There's their head coach, Jeff Zenisek, in his 4th year, has a record of 30-12, 4-1 in postseason, the former defensive coordinator for the Wildcats. And in sizing up his opponents today, the Findlay Oilers, Jeff said he was concerned about Findlay's size, but also felt that playing indoors on turf gave his team a little bit of an advantage.
But to see their size and see what they do with the football they really control the football. They get a lot of different people running the football, 3 or 4 backs that have about the same yardage, that type of thing. And their offensive line just manhandles people in the playoffs. That's, what they did. They just manhandled that line of scrimmage. So, we're going to have to do a lot of things. I think the good thing we got going for us is we're on turf. And our kids are smaller, but they're quicker. And so we're going to have to use that to our advantage.
Central's 8th appearance in the playoffs overall, and as we mentioned, their first title game. They've been in the playoffs 4 out of the last 5 years. Meanwhile, Findlay's coach, Dick Strom, in his 21st season as the head coach. The Oilers runners-up in 78, champions in 79 and 92. He's 4th in career winning percentage among coaches with more than 5 years of coaching in the NAIA. Dick Strom sized up Central prior to the game, and he said, of course, his concern begins with John Kitna.
He's a great quarterback, but he's got some good people to go with him. You know, the big fullback Christian kid is he can catch the ball at 43 receptions, come out of the backfield. One receiver has 87 receptions. The 2 tight ends together have 69 total. The other right receiver has 50-some. And I mean, you don't key on anybody, you know. You don't key on anybody. I would say, and I really, somebody asked me this question the other day, and I think I'm safe saying this. This is probably the best offensive football team I've faced in my 21 years.
Quite a tribute there, Cleet, to Central's attack.
It's almost the Lou Holtz approach. You know, these guys are so good, we shouldn't even be on the field. Again, we talked about a little bit in the opening, 2 very contrasting styles on offense. And the key, I think, for Central is to be able to get out top early. They'll be receiving the kickoff here to start this football game. And if they can go down and score, put a little pressure on it, certainly help their defense in being able to control the wishbone attack of the Oilers.
So we mentioned this, the championship game of the NAIA playoffs after the 16-team tournament began. We'll tell you a little bit about the path to the playoffs. First for Findlay on the left, defeated a Northwest Power and Pacific Lutheran team which made the championship game the last 2 years. Come from behind victory there, a come from behind victory in the semis over Malone College, and then last week at Lambuth of Tennessee, a big romp for Findlay, 63-13. Meanwhile, Central avenging a regular season loss by knocking off previous #1 Western Washington, a victory on the road at Hardin-Simmons, and then last week in Puyallup, a big victory over Mary of North Dakota by a 48-7 margin to make it to the title game. Just about ready to get things underway. Findlay won the toss, elected to defer to the second half, so Central will get the ball, as Cleet mentioned. The kickoff underway from Tom Sellers, going to be taken by Jay Spears for Central. Gets out near the 25-yard line before he's knocked down. Roger Hamilton leading the way on the tackle for Findlay, assisted by Mike Konopka, the 3rd-team quarterback playing special teams, and got to do that with 48 guys on a squad. And there's John Kitna back in his hometown, Cleet.
Well, again, we talked about it a little bit, coming back to the T-Dome in front of friends and family. The home field advantage really a key part there, and you see his numbers.
8 games with more than 300 yards passing this season, and he'll get the attack underway on first. Trying to scramble, and great pursuit to close him down in a hurry, coming from Ray Jackson, the nose guard.
Coverage sack that time. Kitna actually had plenty of time to throw the ball, but
the backfield for Central, Christian, a good running back, along with Woodard, Henderson, Rusaw, the school record holder at one flanker. The front line, Parkin, Sittler, Malmberg, South, and Dahl on second down for the Wildcats. That's Dolan Holt, tight end, in motion. And the first ball carry for Jamie Christian. This coming against a defensive unit now, Cleet, that gives up less than 2 yards per rush in the Findlay defense.
Well, Powers comes up from his linebacker position and puts the hit on there, and a nice job by the defense there to stave off the blocks and allow the linebackers to make the tackle.
Across the front, Agunda Brookins, Garner, Jackson, Arnold, and Barbara, a monster man position. Both these teams use a monster. Long and Powers, the linebackers. Powers with the last stop. In the secondary, Oster, Williams, and a big change for Findlay, Nate Wyrow, their top defensive back, who's been injured, got cleared earlier in the week and is starting. He wasn't supposed to play at all. 3rd and long for the Wildcats. Kitna stepping up. Got a little bit of a deflection on the ball as he had a clear pocket, and Chad Moxley, I think, no, it was Ray Long, rather, who got a piece of it, the young man we featured off the top. Long in there providing some pressure along with Chris Garner, the weak defensive tackle, and Findlay's defense 3 and out here in the first possession.
Well, Findlay's decision to defer the kick and go ahead and kick off works out well, and they should have pretty good field position.
Greg Stoller to punt for Central. You saw Kyle Macy back for Findlay. Stoller's kick bouncing away from Macy. He'll take it just outside the 35. And a fine stick head on there as he gets a short return. Rico Iniguez with the hit, and that brings a roar from the Central Washington fans on the far side of the field.
Well, now we'll get a look at Bo Hurley, who engineers this wishbone attack that, like we talked about, really is power football. There's also going to be a penalty tacked on to that return. So they'll lose some of that excellent field position that their defense had given them with a big 10-yard holding call.
A block in the back on the return team. First down.
Jim Buchanan, our referee for today's championship game. Scott Cordell, the umpire. Tim Davis, head linesman. Charles Mitchell, the line judge. Merle Hagbo, the field judge. Dan Malcolm, the side judge. Mike D'Angelo is the back judge. The officials assigned by the Northwest Intercollegiate Officials Association. Hurley last week, 3 touchdowns running, passed for 1. And that's one of just 5 touchdown passes he's thrown this season. Big hole early from the power attack, and the first carry for Robert Shelton picks up nearly 8. Aaron Mall, linebacker for Central, on the stop. And the backfield now for Findlay: Bill Yeager, Robert Shelton, Troy Pearson. Shelton 1,055 yards this season. Dills and Allen won't get thrown too much. They know it. Cromer, Berger, Ulm, May, and Dietz across the front. Dietz, a 2-time national champion, football and wrestling for Findlay, looking to get another ring. Second and short for the Oilers. Troy Pearson, called the 3-back in the offensive alignment for Findlay. He'll be stopped just short of the first down. Front line for Central: Andy Luonga, Sean Rakovich, Yushin Santori, and Keith Larson. Lemaster and Mall at the backers. Craig Bill, the monster man. In the secondary, Montre Bacon, Michael, Coinas, and Bowie. 3rd and inches for the Oilers. Keeper by Hurley, and into the clear. We see some good speed by Bo Hurley as he picks up plenty of extra yardage along with the first down and hauled down along the sidelines. Finally chased down by the free safety Gary Michael. But for Bo Hurley, Cleet, that's a gain of about 25 yards, and he's shaken up down on the near sideline.
Well, he's grabbing his left knee, as you can see there, and one of the situations that Coach Strom absolutely did not want to see. You see he gets sprawled out there in his prone position, and that is a scary looking end of the play there for Bo Hurley. And see the trainer for Findlay working away, and hopefully it's just something that's a little bit sore.
You can see the leg kind of get pinned back a little bit on the turf, and we have a timeout on the field with 11 minutes and 19 seconds left to play in the first quarter of the NAIA championship game. We're scoreless in Tacoma. To Tacoma, Andy Booth steps in at quarterback now for Findlay. We'll talk a little bit more about Bo Hurley in a moment. A first down at the Central Washington 35-yard line. And the give to Troy Pearson. When you're a backup quarterback, Cleet, you got the line open in holes like that, it makes stepping in a little easier.
Well, handing off the ball and looking at a wide open freeway down the middle of your football field is a nice, pleasant way to start off a series. There you see Andy Booth, only a sophomore.
Average is over 7.5 yards a carry. He's rushed 21 times this year, and there you see his passing statistics. He has 2 touchdowns as well, so has been effective throwing the ball when he's been called upon to do so. Bo Hurley still being checked on the bench, and as you see, a gain of 9 for Pearson, who rushed for 117 yards and 2 touchdowns last week. Well, crossbuck for Bill Yeager. He'll get inside the 25 to pick up the first down before he's dropped. Scott Lemaster on the stop for Central Washington, along with Aaron Mall. While we've got a quick second here, we want to welcome all our viewers joining us on Continental Cablevision in Findlay, Ohio. Glad that you're able to join us.